So this is my part two of how my son got kicked out of daycare due to me reporting the daycare for child negligence to DCF. So I'm just gonna give you a rundown of pretty much what happened. So I want to say around 2 weeks ago, maybe not even 2 weeks, maybe even a week ago. I think it was last week, I believe. Sorry. Last week, my son came home and he had 3 bumps on his head. One, two, like three, right? I'll try to put the pictures down below, or I will just do another slide showing you guys the pictures of things that I, seen and what I wanted to address. Um, One moment. So when I got to the daycare and I, saw my son and I saw the bumps on his head, I asked the teacher that was in charge of him. I'm not gonna say her name for privacy reasons, but if you know, you know. I asked her. I said, "Hey, my son. I noticed, he has these bumps all over his head. What happened? Did he get bit by something? Did he fall down? Did somebody what happened? Like, why he got these bumps on his head?" Her response was, "I don't know." And mind you, the day before, she when I picked up my son, or probably even that day, I'm not sure if it happened the day before or that exact day, when I picked her up, I said, "Well, what happened to his clothes? Like, why he got on these bottoms or whatever?" And that's not what he came in with. And she was just like, "Oh, well, I forgot to change him." And I said, "Okay." So when we got home, I took a picture of his head, and I also went into his backpack to retrieve the pissy clothes, that that had pee on them. And as soon as I opened the bag, the whole bag had pee literally at the bottom of the bag. Like, it was like the pee was so, like, it was just so thick, I guess, that it coated the whole bag. Like, it was so much pee that it coated his pants. And then through the plastic bag that they put in, the little regular shopping bag, that, like, I guess had a hole in it, and it pretty much like destroyed his backpack. So after that, I text the director, and mind you, and the next few slides are, sorry. In the next few slides, I'll go ahead and post that, what I had text her. But I pretty much had to explain to her that my child is pissy. He has these bumps on his head. The teacher is saying this, and I'm seeing this, and it's not making any sense. So then, but that same night, I prayed and I was like, you know what? I got to report this. Like, I don't know what else to do besides report this, because I feel like, I've been a child care teacher plenty of times. I'm a child care teacher now, just part-time. And I just feel like if you see something, you have to say something, because it's like, how can you get better if you don't address the issue? And it's like, how many times do I have to keep addressing the issue for somebody to really step in and get involved? So anyways, I reported it because it was just too many instances, too many different things. And the worker came and went to go see my son, of course. And then when, I guess after the worker left from seeing my son, the director, she called me and she said, she was like, yeah, DCF came by to see Josiah, or CPI came by to see Josiah, and something about a knot on his head. And then she pretty much tried to gaslight me and was like, "Oh yeah, the lady said I don't see anything. Do you see anything?" And pretty much her response was, "No, she don't see anything. She don't know what we're talking about." So okay. So after she proceeds to tell me this, I realized that the DCF worker calls my phone. So I ended up, I believe I want to say like the next day, I ended up calling her while I was at the laundromat with my kids. I kept them home for that day because I was like, you know what? No, y'all not going to go today. I'm going to figure out what's going on, and then we can proceed forward. Because at the end of the day, I want it to be investigated, because the knots on his head, whether they were bug bites, whether they were not, I did end up putting an ice pack on it that same night when he had got home after, getting out of the tub. And it did go down the next day. But anyways, it's still unexplainable marks on him. And I would address the director plenty of times and let her know, like, hey, I've noticed these marks on my son, what's going on. Because it's like, if you look at pictures, when I look at pictures of my son that I have took, within this time frame, I know around the time that these marks had came about, so it's just like, I'm just tired of being gaslit. So anyways, I reported. She tells me that Everything was fine. She just, every time I come in there, oh, hi, Josiah. Hi, Imaya. Hi, Mom. Like, just being overly nice, right? So I'm not sure if the worker came back and wanted to investigate further or what, or so what have you. But all I know is that when I had came in today and I went to go retrieve my kids, she told me to come into her office, right? And mind you, when I proceed to step into her office, she has her mom there, which is the regional director, right? She's sitting there, mind you, in the corner, minding her business, and I knew that you sent her there to try to intimidate me, just to let me know, like, hey, Josiah's not gonna be able to come here no more because of a conflict in interest or whatever she said. And she was like, oh, because it was a report made and we just don't want to, like, and she was just like, and I was like, well, I lied. I was like, well, I'm not the one who reported it. She was like, well, it doesn't matter, so I was like, okay, cool. That's retaliation. Like, at the end of the day, if you don't want to go, if y'all didn't do anything, you should be willing to go through whatever process that you need to go through to be able to know that my child is safely being kept at y'all center, because y'all wanted him so bad. And it's many of times where I wanted to retrieve my kids out of the daycare as well, which I have messages for that as well. But every time I try to, they always try to gaslight me into keeping them there. And then I realized from another coworker, another staff member, that the reason why they do that is because they get more money for my kids having special needs. Moving forward, I go into the daycare today, and like I said, I retrieve my kids. Her mom is there trying to intimidate me. I end up signing the paper, and then I ended up texting them, and letting them know, like, I just don't feel like this is fair what y'all are doing, because I want things in written form. I don't want no conversation. I should have had my recording device, but they caught me off guard, because normally I'll record a conversation real quick, especially when it has to come to do with my kids. But the synopsis of the story is that I feel like y'all definitely have something to hide, because if y'all didn't have anything to hide, why not allow these people go through the process to make sure that my severely autistic son, might I add, is okay and safe in the daycare? If he's okay and if he's safe, why does he have to leave? Why is my daughter not being kicked out when my son is? It doesn't make any sense. And it's just like, what really baffles me is that school is coming up also. Like, so now I have to pretty much figure out his whole schedule from school to home, or school to daycare, or whatever it is. But all I know is that I'm trusting God on this journey, and I feel like I'm doing the right thing, because I feel like a lot of parents, they don't say anything because they feel like scared or intimidated, or like they're coerced to feel some type of way, or to not, like, they try to act like it's not as bad as really what it is. So with that being said, here's the star of the show, Josiah. Anyways, he don't want to be on camera. But yeah, we're still going to go through with our investigation. So if you're looking to book your kids into after school care, do not book with Tampa Bay Academy of Tampa, whatever it is. Children's Discovery, I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't. So good luck out there.